Rather than me giving you the full story, which would take hours and would just be too depressing for this podcast, let me just do some free word association and throw out some things related to our first 18 months in the house. Here we go, in no particular order. Foundation repairs, black mold, beehive in the walls, poisonous snakes in the yard, rodent infestation in the attic, fraudulent home inspection leading to a year-long lawsuit, under-slab plumbing leak, whole home hot water system reroute, more mold, ex-husband stole the pool pump in the freeze, contractor walked off the job, no laundry room for 3 months, discovered no exterior waterproofing in the home, unmaintained air conditioning system requiring 5 figures of repairs, improper install of spray foam insulation trapping moisture in the attic, entire 3rd floor gutted, still more mold, broken sewage pipe, spilling toilet water from upstairs into the kitchen ceiling, no kitchen for 6 months. Try that one when you have 2 hungry teenage boys and a wife who is a gourmet chef. Anyway, all of this just added up and added up and added up. The toll it took on the entire family was tremendous. Nina felt she was without an identity because she was without a kitchen and could not provide for her family or pursue her work. It was during this period that Camden decided to leave our household and live with his mom full time. I can't blame that entirely on our circumstances in the home, but the instability caused by everything happening certainly exacerbated underlying challenges within our family dynamics. And Brayden was frustrated that we had uprooted the family to find a better life in Dallas and were faced with so much instability and turmoil. It wore on all of us. I bore the brunt of the string of decisions I had made, and in the moment, it felt like I was just making bad decision after bad decision, with bad outcomes piling on top of bad outcomes. And I was given and rightfully accepted full accountability for every one of the decisions, particularly the house. It was a period of tremendous strain on the family and on our marriage. A friend of mine once joked that a marriage can withstand 2 affairs or 1 remodel. This was something completely different and way beyond a remodel. This was a total rebuild while living in a home. And the things we were spending money on, by the end, several $100,000s worth of money, were not things we wanted to do to make the home ours. They were things we had to do just to salvage the home and make up for years and years of neglect by the original builder and then by the previous owners. I hit my limit several times throughout this process. I found myself suffering from anxiety attacks for the first time in my life, finding my heart racing, feeling like I couldn't catch my breath. It's worth pointing out that throughout this entire period, I was also running a company and navigating the management of a retail real estate portfolio in the pandemic and post-pandemic world while trying to execute on the construction of new projects and keep my company going with every penny to my name wrapped up in the house that was eating my family alive. Remember, we closed on the new home all cash and had to navigate putting a mortgage in place after the fact while dealing with all of the catastrophes around the home. There was one particular moment in time while I was up to my eyeballs in everything that was happening, and the bank was dragging out the loan process seemingly infinitely. I was on the phone with the banker, finding out about the latest in the string of delays and requests for still more information. I was frustrated and I voiced how poorly I thought they were handling the approval of the process. And the lender responded by saying, "Now, Chad, I think you need to remember just how hard these times are for folks and how much their lives have been disrupted. You need to be sensitive to them and everything they are going through to try to put this loan in place for you." Boy, did I erupt. This was my moment to let loose and let it all out. Okay, time for one more 80s movie reference. The Money Pit with Tom Hanks. Do you recall the scene where the bathtub falls through the floor and Tom just loses it? If you haven't seen this genius performance by Tom, or if you just want a refresher, the scene is on YouTube. We'll put a link in the bulletin board on dadages.com. In this moment of complete surrender to the house that has consumed his soul, Tom goes into a fit of hysterical laughter because he just can't take it anymore. I too had hit my money pit moment, but instead of a hysterical fit of laughter, it was more like a storm of expletives that just came out of my mouth at a volume and in a voice that I could not recognize as my own. And all of this happened with Camden sitting in the car listening. I did my best afterwards to salvage that experience as a teachable moment for Camden, but I couldn't. I just had to look at it as a moment of humanity when he got to understand that his dad is imperfect and flawed and has emotional limits and a breaking point. We'll talk more about the importance of understanding these limits in the next episode. I hope the explanation that I've provided today and these dramatic personal illustrations of the difference between being capable of something and being capable of something without unacceptable consequences have been helpful in building your understanding of today's datage. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you can. In our next episode of Dadages, we will get into a more practical discussion surrounding this topic, and I'll provide you with some advice and guidance regarding understanding of capabilities and consequences and navigating important decisions while looking out for your own well-being. Please join us for that discussion. Subscribe to Dadages now so you don't miss it when it's published. And if you have your own stories to share about pressing beyond your personal capacity and facing the consequences of exceeding your limits, please share them. I'd love to hear from you. Email me, chad@dadages.com, DADAGES.